Well, I think that's us live. I tried to play the intro, but there we go. I think
that was quick, man.
It's so awkward when you're trying to do it on a mobile phone rather than a PC, rather than a laptop. I was actually at the gym and I had no idea it was going to get announced at this moment in time. I had no idea that it was going to just drop in the middle of nowhere. I had no signal or nothing. I just seen your messages coming through and then I just started seeing the notification from Celtic. I thought to myself, well, Christ, I've still got to go in the sauna. So I had to get in the sauna, came out, didn't have time to get back to the flat to get with the proper equipment. So Ryan, here we are, we're coming live through the technology of my new iPhone. And yeah, Celtic have made the double signing of Joe Hart and James McCarthy. Talk about Celtic transfer talk. This is a big one today, a double hitter, a double whammy with two Premier League signings coming to Celtic Football Club. Ryan, what's your initial reaction, mate?
Yeah, I'm buzzing to get the two over the line. Two positions that need.
Oh, for God's sake, this is just useless in a phone. This, there we go. Is that you? Is it, mate? Just go. Just ignore it in the phone.
It's very glitchy now on this. You can tell that this is pure last minute. But two positions that needed filled. I'm happy that Hart's in the door now. Hopefully he can play on Thursday. If it was between the two of them, I would want Hart to be playing on Thursday. But yeah, two positions that needed filled. Two well-known players, two leaders and two winners. So I can't really complain too much. There has been a wee bit. I was criticising us going for Joe Hart a wee bit. Now that he's in the door, I'm fully behind him, and hopefully he can get back to where he was 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Hart's a player that we all know that in the parlour. I've been very vocal in my opinions of Joe Hart. And we'll start off with him. We'll go through both signings. Let's start off with Joe Hart. Now, I have been very vocal in saying that I don't think Joe Hart was the right option for Celtic. And well, do you know what? Let's cut to the chase, Ryan. I'm going to be blunt about things. I'm going to be completely honest as you just stroll through the living room there. I'm going to be completely honest in saying that the recruitment of Joe Hart and James McCarthy, those guys being our primary targets, to me, is very annoying. And I will admit, I think it's not a great sign. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I don't think it's the greatest sign of things. I think that we should have been going in a different direction. We shouldn't be looking at players who are ones that creep up every year under different managers. I think we should be looking for a fresh direction. I think Anne should be looking for his own talent. However, we've landed ourselves, or the board has landed ourselves in the situation, as Ryan once again just decides to march around the house, looking very professional. Thanks very much, Ryan. I love how he just comes on my channel, thinks he runs it. Anyway, I think that I can't even remember what I was saying there, Ryan. Thanks a lot, mate.
Sorry, mate.
You've just put me right off track there with that.
But there's no problems with Wi-Fi now, though, which is good.
That's good. Anyway, I remember what I was saying. I think that it's the board's fault they've landed us in a situation where these guys have to become the main targets. We can't blame Ange for that, I don't think we can blame anybody else but the board for landing us in a situation where we don't have a member of staff who's identifying new targets for Celtic Football Club. We don't have a director of football who's in charge of these sort of scenarios, and we don't have a head scout because, you know, we all know that we're still lacking. And there's the phone away as well. This is just disastrous. This is honestly fucking disastrous. It's a withheld number and everything. Christ almighty. Anyway, I'm fuming. I'm actually livid right now with the Wi-Fi and the phone. But, you know, we've only got the board to blame. We've only got the board to blame for the fact that we're in the situation that we are signing players that, you know, 2-3 years ago weren't good enough for Celtic, but now they are. That's not me saying I'm not going to back them. I'm, of course, going to back them, and I'm hoping they can both turn their fortunes around, both turn their careers around at Celtic. I'm hoping that Joe Hart can recover the form that maybe he had 10 years ago. And I'm hoping that James McCarthy can show that he's... what are you laughing at now?
I'm just like, you've got to be a wee bit positive, mate. We'll get 2 signings in the door.
Mate, I'm going to be positive in a minute. I'm going to turn being positive in a minute, right? And I'm hoping that James McCarthy can recover the form that he had before he started getting loads of injuries. If they too can find that sort of form, we're on to a winner. But that's a big if. And I'm sorry if it's negative, but at the end of the day... I'm not exactly delighted at those when the names were first thrown out. Now I'm delighted they're through the door because we had to get them through the door. We literally had no option but to get them through the door. We need to get that business done if we want to compete this season. James McCarthy could be a fantastic replacement for Scott Brown, I think. Not in the same regards to the style of player they are, but I think you're getting a leader in the midfield. And I think Joe Hart is probably right now the only plausible option we had in getting a goalkeeper because, of course, Barkas and Bain aren't good enough, but we haven't been linked with anyone else. That my problem isn't with these guys, Ryan. My problem isn't with these signings. My problem is the fact that these are our only options, it seems. Because we've been talking about James McCarthy for year after year after year. So my problem is how have we not progressed past that? You know what I mean? But anyway, two signings through the door. We'll start with Joe Hart. What do you think about Big Joe?
He wouldn't have been my first choice for sure. I don't even know if he would have been my second choice. But now that he's through the door, I can't really moan about it or criticise it anymore. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. He's through the door. He's probably better than what we've got. He can save shots, which is, well, or at least he used to be able to save shots, which is more than can be said for the guys we've got. I know. I'm even the podcast yesterday sounds so outdated now with my views, but it's got to that point. We're in desperation. We needed somebody through the door, and we needed somebody through the door quickly. Joe Hart's taken a pay cut to come here. He probably have hunger. He probably knows that everybody's going to be questioning his ability in goals because the last couple of teams he's been at, he's shipped goals, to be fair to him. So this is a chance for him to sort of prove the doubters wrong, to show that he still has a really good level goalkeeper. So I think we'll get a guy that's really hungry to succeed, and I just hope that it works out well for him.
Yeah, a lot of the positives people were talking about was the fact that, Joe Hart is coming here and taking a massive wage cut. He's on £15,000 a week. It does kind of show a desire to once again play football, and it shows that. And one of the points I seen earlier on social media was we've had a lot of players that we've complained about that doesn't want to be at the club, and players that are looking at that don't want to come to the club. Joe Hart with this looks as though he does want to come here, and he's hungry to come here for whatever reason that may be, for the best for his own career or just anything else. He wants to be here, so that is a real positive. I won't take that away from Joe Hart. I'll get right behind him. I will, as much as I have been very vocal on how I'm not the biggest fan of him as a player in the past few years. Don't think he's been great. I will still get behind him. He's a Celtic player now at the end of the day, and there's no way I'm not going to get behind him. He has struggled over the past few years, though. We can't ignore that. He dropped out of that Manchester City team. He went to West Ham. He went to Torino. He went to Burnley. He went to Spurs, and all of those moves, he didn't do too well. But this could be the time to turn it around, Ryan. And if he wants to turn it around, it is really now or never. He's 34 years of age. Thanks very much to Plexiplox, by the way, for the £5. And thanks very much, David Hunter, who says, never known a more negative duo, which is...
I'm not being negative here at all. I'm being extremely optimistic. I don't know if your negativity is permeating into me, but I don't know. But I'm actually quite positive.
It's now or never for Joe Hart, though, isn't it? And that could work in Celtic's favour, I suppose.
Yep, absolutely. He's got a point to prove. I think his career with England is very much over, so he can just focus on Celtic, which is good. I mean, not that our goalkeepers would be getting much more caps, I don't think, anyway. But no, Joe Hart, he can solely focus on Celtic. He's going to come in and be first choice goalkeeper. There's no chance Joe Hart would be coming to Celtic to be second choice. I think he'll go straight into the team and he'll get a lot of chances to sort of recapture his old form that he had 6-7 years ago. Because there's no two ways about it. Back then, he was a really, really good goalkeeper. That's the reason why we've signed him. We've basically signed him on the past, but I still think that goalkeeper could come back. I'm remaining confident and hopeful that he can sort of recapture. And even if he's half as good as what he was 10 years ago, then I'll be quite happy with the goalkeeper we've got.
Yeah, I remember when he was at Birmingham City, especially. I loved him. I actually did. This is the thing. It might sound like I fucking hate him and I'm out to get him, right? But genuinely, I still remember when he was at Birmingham City. I was about 9-year-old at the time, I think. I used to love him. I thought he was unbelievable, and I really, really liked him. And I was sad that he was going back to Man City. I was hoping that maybe he'd move on elsewhere, so he wasn't going to City. But of course, history was history, and he went on to win a league title.
See, the one thing about Joe Hart though, he's vocal, and Barkas and Bain aren't vocal. So he'll take no prisoners.
one of my mates in the chat today, it might have been Kieran Old actually, put in something like, at least it'll be better than that mute Barkas. He'll be actually giving a bit of instruction to the defence.
I think Barkas sometimes has got his tongue cut out or something, because he doesn't look like he's vocal whatsoever. He can't speak a word to his defence. He's just this sort of lone character at the back. I was going to say Lone Ranger, but that get clapped. Joe Hart, he's very gabby, he's very mouthy, which is good. I want that. I want the goalkeeper to, I know, and that's a dodgy clip in itself for certain individuals that are in that. But I want somebody that will potentially fall out with the centre half, because we need that. We need someone that's going to hold these players to account behind them.
He has got that sort of leadership.
Prisoners.
That's one thing. He's got a leadership attribute to him as well. He's been around for that long. He's been an important figure at the likes of Manchester City. He does bring certain qualities to this team that will probably be helpful, especially with a very new and young back line.
Yep, definitely. And the thing that I've heard as well in Tottenham's training, he's been so vocal in training with them, with all the young players. So you're bringing in a sort of leader that's got experience as well. He's only 2 years younger than what Kolo Touré was when we signed him, so he could be used in that sort of experience role as well. I've no doubt that Stevie Woods can do a good job with him and get him back to a good level of playing. If anyone can do it, Stevie Woods can. He done it with Fraser Forster, who didn't have any first team games in a couple of years. He came up north after Southampton. Yep, absolutely. So it's not as if we've signed a bad goalkeeper, because we know he's a good goalkeeper. He just needs to get that confidence back, and that sort of, he needs to be told he's a good goalkeeper again, and needs to be felt that he's number one, and that he's loved and all that. And then if that's the case, then I think the good goalkeeper could come back. I'm feeling optimistic now. I don't know where the optimism has come from. It makes sense though. It makes total sense, because he won't want to move anywhere else. He's here for the long run. That's us stabilised in that position now. He's going to be number one. So that's sort of like a line drawn under that, and he can completely focus on being the number one of Celtic. I think the more you look into it, the more sense it makes. And if he's half the goalkeeper he was 10 years ago, we're in for a hell of a ride.
Well, that's Joe Hart. Would you get him back? Would you get him in the team on Thursday night, Ryan?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. He's got to play. It's like the Starfelt situation Saturday. He's got to play.
And number two then, Ryan, the second signing we've made, Celtic fan, lifetime fan, Mr. James McCarthy. He has signed on a 4-year deal for Celtic, a very long deal. I didn't expect it to be as long, but here he is, former Everton, Wigan, Crystal Palace and Hamilton academical star, Republic of Ireland international. And ultimately, someone who, as I said at the top of the show, might be someone who could really fit for Celtic right now. I know he's had his issues with injuries over the last few years. I have sat on this channel, and I swear to God, every single year since I've started doing YouTube, I have made the James McCarthy video. It's always been a rumour. James McCarthy, Celtic, is it going to happen? Every year since I started YouTube. And every year, progressively, I got more against the transfer, only for one reason. Because he couldn't stay fit. That was it.
Yep.
There was nothing wrong with James McCarthy. There was nothing wrong with the player he is, because honestly, the first James McCarthy video I would have made, I would have been ranting and raving about the potential signing of him, because it was unbelievable at a point when he was at Everton. Sadly, he's had a lot of fitness issues, but I think this is the move for him at Celtic, where he can be balanced well alongside a more, I think there'll be higher intensity players in that team, McGregor and Turnbull being the prime examples, and McCarthy might be able to recover that form that he once had.
Yep, definitely. This is the one I'm more excited about of the two. I know I sounded excited about Joe Hart, but this one genuinely gets me excited because we know he's a good player as well. This guy was top class for Everton. It was only injuries that were keeping him out that Everton team. He was such a steal. He was such a what would you call that? Like, he was always there. He was always there in the Everton team when he was fit. There was no doubt about whether he was going to play or not. It was always injuries. He got a terrible leg break, I remember, a couple of seasons ago, which really stunted his sort of development and growth as a player, because he was getting into his peak, that sort of 27, 28-year-old period. But he's not been as injury prone as he has been in the past 2 years. He had a
run of good form, if you remember, at Crystal Palace, because I tell you why I remember this, because I remember making the video, and it might have been 2 seasons ago, back in the season where it was curtailed. I think it might have been at the start of that season. And I made a video talking about the McCarthy links to Celtic. And then he started playing incredibly well for Crystal Palace for the next few weeks. And I was like, well, there's every chance of us signing James McCarthy out the window because he's been playing brilliantly for Roy Hodgson's Palace, and Roy Hodgson will love that. So he has definitely had a lot of ups over the past couple of years. I think it's just more in the sort of last 12 months he's been a little more unlucky.
Yep, definitely. And he's another guy that once he's fit, I think he'll go straight into the first team. I think that's Sorrow's position going now. I think if you're going to play Sorrow or James McCarthy, you're going to play McCarthy every day of the week. The guy has so much Premier League experience and international experience as well. Also, he'll be looking, and he's only 30 years old. He's still got a couple of years left, I would say, for Ireland as well. So he'll think, I can get a couple more caps if I start playing for Celtic again. I mean, you look at guys like Leo Connor. Leo Connor was getting capped for Ireland, and he was playing for Tranmere. He could become a mainstay in is it Stephen Kenny? Stephen Kenny's
yes, that's right. Yep.
Ireland setup. He could easily go back into that. So I think it's a win-win for both. If he's fit, he will walk this league. That is my hot take. If he he will, because
I made this mistake once about Shane Duffy, right?
Because no. I'll tell you what. He walked the league at the age of 16, 17, playing for Hamilton. He's coming back with more experience. He knows how to play that position. I know it's a hot take, but at the same time, I can't see how this fails if he stays fit. If he stays fit, he'll be one of the best players in the league.
I hope so. He has. I mean,
you've seen that.
There's no, and I think if there's, obviously there'll be Rangers fans clipping you right now, Ryan, hoping that they can use this against you in a few weeks' time. I'm not bothered about that stuff. You know me, I take it on my stride. But the fact of the matter is, these are statements and these are things that you're saying with the evidence. The proof is in the pudding that this is possible. James McCarthy is he's won the FA Cup with Wigan. He's played in the Premier League for a decade now. He's obviously an incredibly talented footballer. It's just about finding that stride at Celtic.
Yep. And if he stays fit, then I've no doubt that he'll play 30, 40 games a season. I know he gets wee niggling injuries, but that might keep him out 2-3 games. But if he's readily available, I don't see anyone that's going to displace him in the starting lineup. He's going to give a nice wee bit of balance because he's quite defensive minded as well as posing a good sort of attacking threat with his passing. I'm really looking forward to seeing him in the hoops because it's one that I've wanted to see for a very, very long time. I remember we were linked with him when he was playing for Hamilton. I was like, I want him at Celtic because he's one of the best young players in Scotland. And then he went to Wigan. And when he was at Wigan, I was like, we should sign this guy because he's making waves down there. Then Everton signed him. How much did they sign him for? Was it something like 13 or 15 million or something like that? It was quite a high fee.
I think so.
I just remember him bossing it down there for Everton. He was one of the best players. He was always getting touted for bigger moves, but injuries obviously caught up with him. There was obviously a rebuild going on at Crystal Palace as well, which is why he was let go. So I think it makes sense. It's very much a Dermot Desmond signing, Irish international that was playing in the Premier League. Oh, I've heard of this guy. Let's bring him in. But it makes more sense than you would think. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play for Celtic, and I do think he will do well if he's fully fit. That's why I'm making this disclaimer. If he's fully fit, because
it's a big if. It is. It's a big if. It really is. It's not
if he's fully fit,
we can't control his fitness. You know what I mean? We can only do so much.
He's a very exciting signing, though. I would say. A lot of people are quite downbeat about it, but the guy again has a point to prove. Much like Joe Hart, these are two guys that are feeling down on their luck, I would say, that want that sort of first team opportunity, that will very probably both walk into the first team. They're going to get game time that they haven't had over the past couple of years. So I think it makes sense. And I mean, it's the Scottish League. At the end of the day, we can talk it up as much as we can, but these guys should excel in this league. I know we've had guys in the past that said they could talk the talk but couldn't walk the walk. You look at maybe, there's Ryan again. There's Ryan again. There's Ryan away. I couldn't even speak there. But if these guys show up and they were the players that they were in the Premier League, then I don't see how they can't succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I just want shout out to you, by the way, who's donated a £5 telling us to keep up the good work. Two good signings, still the right back, the left back, absolutely, and a striker as well. Absolutely. I think we're all in agreement with that. But yeah, I think that'll about do it. Right, we've been about 20 minutes on the air now, but Celtic have pulled two signings out the bag. There is still work to be done. I'm hoping that the next couple of signings that we make, if we do make them, we should be, will be guys of maybe a younger age, guys that bring a bit of excitement and unknown quantity to the team, and people that we can I I don't know. I want those kind of signings we used to get when we got up Dembele's and Edwards and all that. You know, I want one.
Yeah, I like those signings, but it's good that we're putting in some grit as well.
Yeah. Well, that'll do. Ryan, thanks very much for joining me this afternoon. I'll let you go and enjoy your night. I've got work to go to. I do apologise for the fact that has been on the phone. The phone has been falling. The phone went in the mother's house. The internet was a bit dodgy at the start. I do apologise, but it's live television.
And I do apologise for giving people the very first episode of Scottish Cribs. Me going through all the different rooms.
Mate, that part was fun. That's all right. That part was good. Don't worry about it.
That's all right then. That's all right.
Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit like and subscribe. And yeah, we'll see you on the next stream.